welcome once again to Bleeding Edge Interviews. Time to get to know a little more about some of the creators who make up the world of progressive rock, aka the Progosphere. I'm your host, Super Dave. Thank you for joining me. So, this won't be the first time I admit to being in the dark about a prog band that has actually been around for many years, and yet I've somehow overlooked it till now. It's actually one of the wonderful things about modern music, including modern prog. There's always more to discover, and you know I love discovery. So, this newest discovery for me is Italy's Barock Project, who dropped their latest album about a month ago. It is entitled Time Voyager, and I was joined by drummer Eric Ombelli and guitarist Marco Mazzuoccolo for a nice long chat about the band's history and their approach to creating music, and the twist that makes this album a little different from their previous ones. So, without further ado, let's get into my conversation with Eric Ombelli and Marco Mazzuoccolo of Barock Project. So, all right, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time. It's great to talk to you guys and learn a little bit more about a band I'm going to admit I'm new to the table. I have somehow been under a rock for 10 years or more at this point. And I'll admit, I'm new. Courtesy of the algorithmic, I think I just created a word there, algorithmic graces of Spotify, you guys popped up in my new release radar. And of course, I took an immediate listen because I thought, well, the name sounded intriguing. I wanted to find out who this was. And wow, very, very, very impressed. I really have been missing out for a while, and I'm sorry that I have missed out, but I'm glad to have finally joined the bandwagon here for you guys. For those of the rest of the people in the U.S. and listening to this who aren't as familiar with you guys, like myself, and are new to the table, tell us a little bit about the origins of the band and all the influences that contribute to your sound.
Okay. Right. Luca should be here to tell us because he was there. We entered the band in 2012. It's pretty long time, but it's not the beginning because the band is 20 years old, almost 21, and started off with Luca and some of his friends of studies when he started music at school. The influences is Baroque music, Bach, and mostly because Luca loves Bach and loves maybe his biggest musical hero, along with the Beatles. I'm pretty sure of what I'm saying. Also, he's not there. The Beatles and the Police, I think.
Yes.
Of course, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, if we are talking about, of course, influences for the band. Also, all the progressive, not all the progressive music, but some bands, something by Genesis, not all the discography. I'm speaking on behalf of Luca, actually, because he started off the band. And then, of course, every one of us brought to the table its own influences, I think. The former singer was more metal-oriented, I think, Luca Pancaldi. Our singer now is more in the 80s, metal style, hard rock.
Yeah.
That, of course, is very open-minded as a guy and as a singer. So I think Alex, the singer, has made a lot of progress during these years with the band, the Barock Project. And then, of course, Francesco is more the bass player is more into the R&B, jazz music. He was new to progressive when he got to the band, when he entered. Yeah, almost never listened to progressive. And of course, Marco can tell us.
Yes, I'm a rock guy. I come from the classic rock, and then I studied a little of, I believe some of jazz. So I have many influences, but mostly rock music.
Same for me, or less. classic rock oriented, also progressive in my childhood, some progressive. Yeah. Recently more usual stuff, maybe.
We were into prog music before auditioning for the band.
Very cool. It's unusual to hear anybody in a rock band when they list their influences start with Bach, but I think that's very cool. It's something that really, I think, adds a different flavor to your music. It doesn't immediately grab you and shake you and go, hey, you're listening to Bach, and yet at the same time it adds these flavors to the overall stew, as I like to call it at times, that makes up the overall sound. So it's very cool to hear all of that. I like the mix of varied influences, which often is what you get with a band that is progressively oriented, is that they bring all these diverse elements together, jazz and all that, but very nice. So the question I guess I get for you guys is, now that the new album is out, it's been out, I guess, about a month now, a little more than a month, how are you guys feeling about the reception you've received so far from fans and critics?
Really honored, I think.
Totally.
Surprised also. A little bit of surprise, because we knew that the material was good, but the enthusiasm that we got from every kind of, I don't know, people around the world is astonishing, really.
Yes, many people told us that it is our best album. I don't know if we agree, but
I didn't expect that.
Even people that are long time
followers,
it's our Barock Project
listeners.
Yeah.
Honored. I am honored, personally.
Yeah. Everything I've read so far has been very, very positive, and what I've heard is really, I'm very impressed with what you guys have put together here, and again, I'm both glad I have discovered you and sad that it took me so long to do so. Was there any concern you guys had? It's been 5 years since the last album, and oftentimes bands don't take breaks that long, and I realized to an extent some of it, was kind of a product of world events with the pandemic and everything like that. I guess I can imagine you guys may have had a lot of pent-up energy about getting back to making music. But I also have to wonder if you were a little nervous that too much time had passed since the last one. Maybe you had some mixed feelings as you went into it. How were you feeling when you got started, and what were you hoping to achieve with the album?
I simply don't. Where do we are?
I started maybe.
Yeah.
At first, you said mixed feelings. If I'm speaking for myself, I would agree with that. Feelings. I wasn't that happy at first, because the band had taken a break during the pandemic, of course. Then we got together again to do some gigs, some beautiful concerts. But it was not an option, the idea of a new record. Nobody was in that kind of frame, mental mindset. But when a year or so after, in 2022, we started to think about it. At first, I don't know. Then we scheduled some moments to be together and compose, bring our own ideas, develop ideas, and the thing started being more interesting, more and more, and as we did it. And in the end, we were very thrilled to do it again, I think.
Yes. Since the idea of a new record wasn't in our minds immediately after the pandemic or after the last album, personally, I didn't really think not about how many years has passed before the last one. So, when the moment is good for good music, it does.
Yes, Also, a lot of the project starts from Luca. So if Luca shares his ideas, and if we are enthusiastic about his ideas, as often, always, I would say, happens, then we are fueled to participate, to be involved.
Yeah.
And then it's like a rolling effect.
Yes.
Snowball effect. So
Yeah.
Right.
if something fuels you, then maybe you will put your ideas, and it can only be good. So,
Yeah. Luca is also, as he told you before, Luca is the founder of the band, and he is the main composer
Yes.
of every song in every album of Barock Project. So most of the things, almost every song starts from his mind.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask about that. I was curious about the creative process that the band uses in the recording process, because I think it's an interesting balance or dichotomy, the idea that classical music is usually known for being very structured, although Baroque can be very ornate, I guess we'll say, very having a great deal of flourishes and things like that, if I recall correctly. It's been a while since I studied that music. But then at the same time, jazz is based on improvisation and can be very unpredictable. So I'm curious how you guys meld those things together and how you go about your business in the studio.
Well,
as I told you before, Luca usually has some musical ideas that share with us on Dropbox folder, and so like new album ideas or something like that, and we are free to give our own contributes to this, and this is usually the creative process that we use, and we gather together to how can I say, to complete some of his ideas.
yes,
That's it.
complete. Also, yes, implement. I don't know, insert.
Yeah.
And then I have to say something. Yeah, that for the first time in 3 records, the last time was with Detachment in 2016. We gathered physically to do a record. It was not done with the previous one. So we were physically in the room for hours, not every day because we have other things we do during the week. But in Saturday, maybe, we gathered and we discussed and we played and we did what should be done. I think in the best scenario. So people in the room. Then, of course, not the whole band, because it would be confusing. Because we tried also with everyone. Also, Luca said that PFM is now with PFM from since 2021. He works with PFM. And he brought inspiration from them because Jivas, the bass player, told him that also in the best days of the band, in the 70s and 80s, not everyone from BFM was involved in the sessions. Just the 3 of them, I think. And then they shared with the others in a second time. So we brought inspiration from that to be more productive and more efficient. And it worked, I think, because Luca came with an idea, maybe not complete, then he took the guitar, he improvised something, and then it ended up on the record. Because it was a spontaneous idea. Yeah, it happened a couple of times. Or, on the other hand, we worked for an hour to a passage.
Yes.
Usually this doesn't work. The best thing is when
it's spontaneous.
Yes, spontaneous.
I agree with that.
5 minutes max. 10 minutes.
Nice. Yeah, I think there's something to be said. I know I seem to have been on a trend lately. I've talked to a lot of people who are involved in bands that are doing a lot of remote recording, where for various reasons they're not all in the same place much of the time, if not almost all of the time. And so it's kind of unusual these days still to hear where there are bands getting together, but I think that's maybe just because of who I've been talking to. And I think there's probably a lot to be said for the opportunity for that spontaneous creation that comes out of being together and working on something at the same time, rather than, okay, here's a part or here's a composition and you throw some things to it and one person does that and everybody's kind of working in isolation. There aren't hardly any bands I can think of these days where everybody's in the studio playing at the same time, unless you count the Aristocrats. They are the only ones I've heard of still doing that.
No, I mean, we were in the same room, like composing, like writing, but for the recording sessions, when everything was like,
lined up,
yes, when everything was written, we did some remote recording and some in person. Yes, like Luca with you. Yes,
I wanted Luca when I recorded the drums, because first he could tell me if in his songs the drumming was what I thought was good to him or not. Because on the last record I did it on my own, and something didn't work after, so I decided to do the other way.
Right.
And also so he could help me, because one person recording a difficult instrument on drums is not enough unless you have a big setting.
Okay? It's
I don't have. So so look, but first, mainly because I wanted him to tell me, no, that's not good, or to pump me up to say, oh, that's great, okay, because this gives you more energy either way.
Absolutely.
But then, of course, he did the guitars. He sent it to Luca.
I did most of the guitars in remote session, but we back and forth a lot. Like I was sending him some like demo of the guitar version. It was like, yes, it is good. This is not what I thought, or this is really good, or this is shit. No, something like that. No, we didn't say shit.
Also, worse.
But that's right.
Also, the vocals. Alex was recording with Luca, so and also with me once, and with us once. So it was more organic. I don't know how to say, more human. Process. I'm pretty happy with this.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I think it comes across in the album as well. That there's that sense of synergy, I think, built up through the process that you guys used. So very nice. So the album is also something of a departure for you guys from what you've done previously, because in this sense, it's a concept album, but it's a kind of a different kind of concept album, I guess, than typically the ones you think of, where there's a story being told, or there is some sort of a lyrical theme that goes throughout the songs. But you guys were basically doing a musical concept album focused on time travel. Talk about that a little bit and the inspiration behind that.
I guess once we were in the studio, Luca came and said, I would like to have a line behind the songs. I guess this influenced his approach to composing, and also to the lyrics. He told me that at first it was supposed to be a space travel, something physical.
Yes.
And that's why the song that I wrote is more about that. At the end of the record, there's a song that I wrote, and I wrote the lyric. But after we changed the concept, and but my song stayed the same. So I guess that there's always something to do with the time travel, because every song has a different flavor, and also surprises in the sound. That it seems that you're going through a black hole or something and being transported in another place, another time. I have this sensation a couple of times in the record, like in Voyager. At certain points, changes completely, but I think it's not trauma. It's not
in a good way. I think it changes in a good way.
Yeah. Maybe it was also inspired by the presence of certain instruments in the studio. We had Mazzuoccolo. I had both Mazzuoccolo, but not thinking about Barock Project. I just purchased it. It was there, and by chance we used it. It opened up some doors, and it was not from the start. It came after, like a concept. And I think first is always the music. I don't know about Luca. I think he agrees with that. First is always the music with Barock Project, then the lyrics come after. So the concept was the music first, and then even the lyrics.
Yes, I agree. Okay. And the same point, yes. I think so.
Well, and I guess it gives you guys a chance doing it that way to, in many ways, highlight your really very widespread influences. I mean, if you're going back to Bach and then coming to the present day and everything in between and classic rock and all that, it seems it gave, some moments for all those elements to shine, whether it was throwing in some saxophone in I think it was Propaganda. It's pretty heavily used there. And it's got kind of it didn't sound like them, but it made me think of something like Steely Dan or something of kind of the jazz fusion of the 70s. And the Lost Ship Tavern, gets almost sea shanty-like in the way it's presented. And, it's like it's so widespread. You start with some orchestrations at the beginning of the album, and it's like what a cool way to be able to sort of bring some of those elements of your sound to the fore and to the front in various sections of the song without necessarily sounding like you're doing a whole bunch of songs from, like, they don't sound like they're from different time, like they're all connected together, but these little elements surface. I'm not even sure I'm saying that well, but that's the way I guess I experience it. And what a cool idea to do that.
Yeah, thank you very much. We had some doubts, of course. We weren't sure that we had done our homework good enough.
Yeah.
We of course we wanted to achieve this kind of result, but when we read the response from the people, I guess we realized that it was achieved or a good way. Of course, there's always someone that disagrees, and I mean, it's perfectly fine. But it's most of the people appreciate this kind of approach, not separated with the songs being part of a whole. Also they are different sounding, sometimes different.
It can be challenging to mix everything together, but I think it's because every one of us in listens many really many musical genres during
our lifetime.
Yes, so that's why so many influences coming together.
Yeah.
Nothing new. We have a band in Italy called Area. I don't know if you know. This band is like avant-garde, but not still good to hear or good to listen to. Musical or compositions, progressive. They used to do that too. Right. They did whatever they wanted. They were great musicians, Demetrius Stratus was one of the best vocalists of all time, and they had also a lot of Mediterranean influences in their music, Balkanic. So I guess we also tried.
Yes, we tried.
We tried this to channel a little bit then, because it's impossible. Rather to we are there.
Yeah. A little bit of an homage.
An homage, yes. They did it 40 years ago, so
wow.
Nothing new.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. And I heard you speaking earlier about you writing the lyrics. Are you typically the lyricist? Do you guys share that responsibility? Who's responsible for them primarily?
We have a couple of persons.
The lyricists, yeah, Antonio De Sarno, Franceschetti, because Giorgio Franceschetti, I think I said it right, are the lyricists mainly. And occasionally, if the songs are very personal, or if we think that we have some lyric in us, we write with it. So Luca, occasionally,
yes.
I wouldn't say that I write, but it has happened a couple of times. So, that I wrote a lyric, yes. But mainly is these guys, because they have more. I don't know. They are more oriented. They're really good. They hear the music and they know. Of course, they are addressed. We tell them what the song should be about. Correct some passages if they don't sound good, because the first thing is always the music in the words, also the sound of the word, the syllabs.
Yes,
the first thing, the meanings, the meaning after. There has to be, of course, but first is the music.
Right?
How does it sound? Of course, this time there was this idea of the concept, so we followed the work constantly, and to make sure that the ideas were all organic. Okay?
Yes.
So we were more in contact, because we are not in the same place. Actually,
yes.
No, they are not.
The
same. They're from other places in Italy.
Gotcha. They are. What I really liked about them is they like, oftentimes with progressive oriented music and rock, you're going to oftentimes find that the lyrics can be very fantastical, sometimes political, but oftentimes grandiose, where I felt there was this kind of nice slice of life, snapshot, almost like imagery in the lyrics, wherein like I could picture what was happening, and it just felt almost like somebody was sitting somewhere just kind of observing for a moment and just painting a picture. And it's much more so that I've experienced in a while, where like I'm just getting these really nice mental images, but they're not, they're not the spacey, way out there stuff that you often get with progressive music. They were just so very kind of down to earth and grounded, almost observational of life. And I thought that was a very cool aspect of them. So I was glad you guys had them available for me to read.
Yes.
And I've been lucky to meet them.
Yes, they're really good. So they did a great job.
Yeah, they work with words nicely. And also they grab the meaning. It's like a sculpture, something that does a sculpture, that he sees what's inside the material somehow. And they see what's inside the song. Or I don't know how to do it. Sometimes, of course, they are addressed, but sometimes not. Like, for example, once you said some of the themes are not the usual ones. I can remember a song, Roadkill.
Yeah,
previous record, Roadkill. Some songs had strange lyrics about some strange topics, like roadkill. Animals killed in road. So we were surprised when we listened at first.
Yeah, I'd say the closest anything on this gets to being political is probably propaganda, but at the same time, it's less about the political aspect of it than it is about the social aspect of it.
So there was another one also some records ago about that, about cell social media. I don't know, the Dutch maybe.
Yes.
Rescue me, maybe. Because I gotta tell you, I don't often listen to the lyrics of our songs. I listen to the music.
Fair enough.
Because I'm the drummer, so I tend to concentrate on the sound of music and of the words.
Right.
Of course, the meaning can help, but I'm not one of those guys. I'm speaking personally that listens a lot to what the words are saying. Maybe after, not during the process.
Same here.
Yeah, tend to concentrate. Yeah.
Yeah, we're more music oriented.
Yeah. You got a lot to do.
Yes.
You got a lot to do when you're playing guitar or playing drums. So yes,
Yeah,
I can totally understand. I probably would be in that same headspace unless I was the one that wrote the lyrics myself. So, so I get that. I'm curious though, and this came up as we were talking. And I thought, I wonder, in the composition of the music, do you, prior to the lyrics existing, do you guys have the vocal lines already worked out, or is it a matter of you've got the primary instrumentation done, then you get the lyrics, and then you create the vocal line after that? That may not be a question for you guys. That might be a question for Alex, I suppose.
no, I mean, usually Luca sings in the demos with like fake words, I would say, like
Yeah.
Okay.
I see.
yeah, like random words, random English words. So just to get the sound and to get the vocal line, the melody of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, we have to have some sort of vocal in order to know where we have to stop. I mean, to do our part properly and not step on the vocals. So a melody has to be there from the
Then the melody,
but the melody is the first thing.
Usually is the first thing when
Very, very important.
after composition.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so yes, we have these fake words demos just to work on the old song. Of course, every song has a theme prior to the lyrics.
Yeah.
And the lyrics then you respect that theme.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that approach. I've known people who have done that, but this will be the first time I've heard of it being done where the person doing the scatting, the initial vocal melody, is not the same person writing the lyrics. So that's a bit of a switch off for me, and I'm like, wow, it's amazing to me to think about the coordination that must go into pulling all of that together. That's pretty impressive in many ways.
There's a lot of communication between Luca and
Luca communicates a lot.
Yeah. Sometimes the lyrics come back pretty good lyrics, meaning, but they don't fit in the metric composition. They are hard to sing, not in pitch, but in rhythm or in all syllables. That's sound. So they go back and come the correction. There's a lot of communication.
I can imagine. Yeah, it's a lot of moving parts, and it's very complex music that you guys are making. So I'm always impressed with the ability of people to pull all of that together into something that becomes a cohesive whole. When especially working in a group, it's maybe one thing if you're working by yourself and there's no need for heavy communication back and forth and compromise and this, that, and the other. But in a band, to coordinate and pull that together, it's really impressive.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Tour plans. Go ahead.
Sorry. I just wanted to say sometimes comes easy, as I was saying before, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And sometimes it's pretty hard. Depends It's not always the same. It's not always hard. Sometimes can be really challenging. Sometimes comes quickly, and we are surprised to have this thing from nothing to everything, to all the whole finished product.
Yeah.
Luckily.
What opportunities so far have you guys had to play any of the new music live? Are there particular songs you're really looking forward to doing that you haven't played live yet, or some songs you're almost dreading because they're so challenging?
We have played the Lost the Ship Tower in England last November.
Yes.
As a preview, as a gift to the people that were there. I'm pretty scared.
Yeah, the songs. There's some challenging songs.
Yeah.
We play in the future.
No, I'm looking forward.
Yeah.
Doing it.
I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm not sure how much of the album that we hear is essentially improvised. So I'm curious how strictly you guys adhere to the recorded material when you play it live, or is there a bit of space for you to do some different things and improvise a bit more differently from show to show?
All right. That's interesting, and an interesting question.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a really structured music, actually. I would say that we work really hard to get every little detail as we want it to. So we try to recreate them live, but there is some room for some freedom,
Improvisation.
Yeah,
I guess for the harmonic instruments, for the guitar, for the key. No, I would say more for the guitar, for the bass.
Mm-hmm.
There's less room. Luca as live has more opportunity to implement, to add or change. And I guess also the drums are less under control. But this is a freedom I was given. Never asked for this. Just happened. So didn't tell me anything. So I did it my way. So sometimes I have also this urge to change because unless I get bored, and sometimes I have to do the thing because I know it works perfectly. The music, for example, Voyager Oncoming, I guess, will always stay this way because it fits with the other instrument perfectly. Otherwise, I would change fields. I would change subtract usually. Other than add, I would subtract like recently because in the record there's a lot of notes.
Yeah.
So recently, I'm starting to realize that it's better to subtract. Yes, sometimes.
I get you. I did a little bit of drumming in high school, and not anywhere near what you're doing, but I have at least enough of a perspective to go, okay, yeah, I get that. I totally.
Yeah, sometimes it's better. Sometimes it's better. Live, because the songs have to be played live to realize that. You don't realize these kind of things unless you are on a stage.
Right.
Yes, think of symbols. In the record, you can play a lot of symbols, a lot of colors. If you do it live, maybe it doesn't work the same. It depends on the stage, of course. Small stage doesn't work. Maybe a big stage, you can play it like in the record. You can play all those symbols. Otherwise, you have to subtract something in order to make the other people play comfortably. So it depends. Then for them. Yeah, I think for the drums it is.
I get you. And that's
I don't know about the vocals or about the bass. I think it's more.
Yes, there are some structures that are need to be as they are in the record.
Yeah.
Harmonically, melodically.
Yeah, not as easy to change that up mid-song.
Yeah. No, it can be.
No,
For them, is more difficult, I think.
I mean, I don't think it's about how hard it is. I think the songs are in a certain way, and I think they work this way. So. But sometimes we change something and we maintain the change, like sound harmonic passage with it.
It does happen also this, yes, we change some finale, some endings. We change also some arrangement.
And then we consistently play them live.
Right.
That's what we say, because we like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
There you go. And that's an aspect I don't think that often comes up that people would often think about, is the idea of, like, I would certainly think a stage size would force you to adjust what you're doing in terms of, where you're standing or sitting and how you move around. But it's probably easy to overlook the adjustments the musicians might have to make in terms of sound, that different stages, different venues could actually push you, especially as a drummer, to change up what you're doing a little bit to not end up having it sound poorly.
It's something that I realized in the last years, actually, before. And also the previous bass player that had more experience than me told me, look out when you're playing live. It's not the same when the record. It's not always the same. So I have started to realize that and apply. The more you play, the more you realize.
Right.
We wish to play more because these songs have to be on the stage. I think. And not only us, of course, a lot of bands reinvent or adjust the songs when they are playing them live. So not bands. They change stuff. Maybe not melodic harmonics.
No, but yeah,
maybe not a remix, but they adjust things. Because the record is done in a period of time.
Yes.
Small period of time.
Yeah.
And once it's done, it's done. So it's like that forever. But the music on the stage can change because it lives every night. So it can change. It's like a person. So when it's live, of course, in the record is like a picture. It's always the same.
Exactly. Yeah. Nice way of conceptualizing it. I like that.
I didn't think about that until now.
Very good. Well done.
Maybe I heard it from
like the changes of sound light. Same concept.
So speaking of all this discussion about live, do you guys at this point have any tour plans coming up that you can report?
We have opportunities. We are discussing about that. Nothing fixed right now. We hope to be on the stage very soon, but nothing planned.
Okay.
Unfortunately, nothing.
Yes, we are trying to schedule.
Yeah, we are trying to schedule.
Yeah,
pretty hard.
But
it's not easy also because of all the other things that are around us during the year. So we work also with other people and projects, so it's not easy.
Yeah, I get that.
Also, Luca, think about Luca. Luca is with PFM, so it's very, very busy these days. Very busy.
Busy man. I get that. Yeah, and a lot of folks are these days, especially in the world of progressive music. There's so much, I like to say, cross-pollination. There's a lot of people working together and collaborating, and people oftentimes regularly appearing in multiple bands, some touring, some only recording, but I can imagine it becomes a bit of a juggling act, and does present some challenges in terms of scheduling.
Yeah, of course. can be really challenging. Really challenging.
Yeah. And I know in this day and age, the touring can be the shaky prospect, I guess, a little bit for some folks, because I know it's expensive and it's difficult, especially for getting over to, if you're, in another country, getting over here to the U.S. That's why I'm a little bit jealous of Europe, because there's so many prog bands I'd love to see that are touring, and there are so many more festivals occurring over there than we get here. So I have to get missed out on things sometimes.
No, we had the chance to come to the US once. It was a Rose Fest, Rose Fest in 2018. It was really beautiful.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. We hope to come back.
I hope.
I don't know, actually. I don't know. No. Do I know again?
Yes, that will be integrated.
Yeah. Well, whatever happens, I hope at some point, whether it's here or over there somewhere, I get to see you guys live. I would love to do that. Read some rave reviews about your live performances, so that goes well with the album. Obviously, you guys have a lot of talent behind the band and can do some really great things. So, in that sense, fingers crossed. I hope I get to see you. In that sense, I hope the album is really, really successful for you guys. I think it's much deserved. It really is an impressive piece of work, and I think the accolades I've been reading so far absolutely reflect that. So I wish you guys the best with that, and I certainly hope you get some tour plans together and that works out really nicely for you.
Yeah, we will too. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys again for joining me. I really appreciate talking with you. It's been a great chat. It's really cool to learn more about the creative processes and things like that artists go through, and I really always enjoy these conversations. So you guys have been great. I really appreciate your time.
Our pleasure. My pleasure.
Yes, it's been a pleasure.
Excellent.
Yeah, because we don't get often to talk about that specific aspects. It's a pleasure. It's beautiful.
Very cool. Well, hopefully you get more chances like that coming up soon. So
yeah,
absolutely. All right, guys, take care and have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, so I've said it many times, including my intro. The joy of discovery is absolutely one of my favorite things about music, and Barock Project has been a perfect example of that with Time Voyager. So, molto grazie to Eric and Marco for joining me, and my apologies for any time I mangled your names. It was a lot of fun talking with you, and once again, I wish you and the rest of Barock Project much success with the album and the expected tour, and I'll once again make my plea for you to come to the US so we get to see you guys live. Please, please, please. Anyway, for those interested in buying the album and supporting these guys and checking out the rest of their work, I put a link to their website in the description. Also, you'll find my social media links and the link to my All Prog station on Live 365, The Expanse. Those are below. And don't forget, like and subscribe when you get a chance also, if you could. So, that's all I have for you now. So remember, never fear to deviate from the norm. Keep it proggy. And this is Super Dave, as always, signing off.